I indeed have returned. Cosmic Festival? That threw me for a loop there for a second. I actually had forgotten that I had played said level. Okay, so we seem to be live. Everything seems to be doing absolutely fantastic. Now, there's no guarantees that the internet will serve us for this duration, for however long we feel like playing this here funky level of the funky variety, if you insist. But no use beating around the bush. Let's just do this. Oh, we're dropping hella frames inside the game. I forgot to turn on the FPS bypass, for I am a cheater. We're gonna go to 240. No more, no less. That's gonna make playing this so much easier, and that startled me for a bit. That little audio peak there. I'm moving my arms as if you can actually see them, but no, this face cam is very small. I'd have to do like this for you to actually see. Also, it's a weird angle, definitely, because I now have two monitors instead of one, so the positioning for my webcam is one I am not used to whatsoever. But let us not let that affect our gameplay in and of itself. One playback. I always have one concurrent viewer at the very, very, very beginning of my stream, and I don't know what is causing that. Just like someone had notifications on and they pop in the stream and go, oh, it's this asshole, and then they click off. Like, what is this? It's probably some kind of a weird glitch where it, for a brief second, registers my playback as a viewer, and then it just stops. I don't know, this application is indeed very weird. Fuck. Oh, by the way, we wanna turn on live chat for this, for I don't want to miss anything. Somebody says the word, I don't know, fart, and YouTube censors that. I probably got demonetized for saying that word. Also, I just now noticed how low my freaking audio is inside the game itself. That's kind of funny if you ask me. For it sounds fine. But I just wonder how much would my ears end up hurting if I turn it back up. I feel like my actual head would explode. Okay, so we have yet to make it to, I don't know if I'm even speaking with the correct grammar. Well, that sentence certainly wasn't correct. What I'm trying to say is that we still haven't made it to Michigan. Once we start getting closer to it, I'm turning on local recording. I mean, there is a slight chance that we fluke it all the way to the end, but let's be real. Come on now. That was the lucky click. It actually would have been kinda cool if I had made it to the ship part there. Okay, I'm fairly certain that I did mash there, but I guess all these speedy clicks just molded into one long click, ultimately leading to my demise. Okay, why am I so bad at that particular wall part now? This is very, very annoying to say the very least. Okay, and of course I find a way to click too fast as well. All within the same stream itself. Let's start flicking my mouse button. In the hopes of that making clicking just a tad bit more comfortable for us. Okay, so the problem with streaming this level is the fact that you run out of commentary to make. You just keep on dying in the first 10% and it just gets boring as fuck. And there's really no use in practicing anything because that won't speed up the process of us making it far in the first place. Which we are not doing. Maybe if I just complain, I'll become known as the, you know, the angry guy who will start seeing a bunch of S-Blank-G Rage compilations and I'll finally get famous. From people just making fun of me. Hey, it's the angry guy. Hey, do the angry guy dance. Your internet connection is lower than recommended. The stream's current bitrate. I'd rather yank all the hairs out of my scrotum. Dude, we've been live for 6 minutes. Let's go. New personal best. I mean, I've done a 3.5 hour stream. Which, you know, in the grand scheme of things isn't that much, but it's certainly more than 6.5 minutes. That's so awesome, dude. Finally, some new scenery. I don't care if it's for 2 milliseconds. At least it was some new scenery. Freaking something new for once. Goddamn tired of seeing the same fucking ball part over and over. Nice lag spike, buddy. That, for the record, that lag spike wasn't the thing that ultimately killed me, but there definitely was one present. I died because of my own stupidity, though. I will take full credit for that there mistake. Mistake that was very unfortunate, considering it was very avoidable. You can pretty easily tell when you're going too late in the ball part. Essentially just the knowledge that you're not gonna make it far no matter how fast you mesh. Okay, let's find a way to blame everything but myself and try to fix my general positioning here. Well, now the microphone is clearly in the way. Ah, nice. Nice. Even nicer. Now, as a direct contrast to that 0% death, could I please have a 100% run? Nice change of pace, if you will. Thank you for that. Okay, an actual shot at this. Fuck you. Saying that as if that death was anybody else's but my fault. Let's actually fix that start position just to not risk that the positioning is having any effects on my muscle memory. I know that's a little far-fetched, but I really don't want to play around with this level, if you know what I mean. That's gonna get so annoying, that sound. Okay, now I'm just generally bad at straight flying. Fuck. God damn it, I really... hate how bad I am at this part. I mean, I feel like everyone who goes for this level is really bad at Michigan until they just force their way through to getting somewhat consistent at it. But hell, even Noble Boy, who... the Michigan in Bloodlust is generally the same gameplay. Sure, it's got some appearing elements in it and maybe like subtly buffed. But even so, like he died there many times when verifying the funny level. Which I do not wish to go for. That level just doesn't look fun at all. Even if I had the skill for it. Like if I had the skill to beat, I don't know even what is the Sakupen circles, I wouldn't have the motivation to go for Bloodlust. Bloodbath is enough of a legend for me to go for it, but I don't want an extended buffed version of Bloodbath, especially when the buffs really aren't that fun. Take Noble Boy's part, for example, there's that one brutal timing that just completely blows. And a lot of the parts that were changed also seem exponentially harder than the base level, so it's sort of this inconsistent mess in terms of difficulty. But that's my take on it. If you enjoy Bloodlust, by all means have all the fun you wish. Fuck. Why is that wave part suddenly hard? Like, at least have me die at the ship or UFO, but the wave part, come on, dude. I mean, honestly, dying at the UFO is even more embarrassing, but I have done that. Even on normal mode, I actually have a video of me doing so. On this very channel. I think it was like Bloodbath 38%. That was quite the blunder, if you will. Okay, I'm getting sick and tired of Michigan already. Although the main point is supposedly to practice it, I really don't wanna get sick of this level within the first 20 minutes. Okay, so let's... The strategy is to not go crazy with the wave, just make all the movements that are just necessary, as if you were doing a Bloodbath being in Minimal Colleagues challenge. Which probably that isn't the most optimal way. There's probably some crazy curves you gotta do to minimize the clicks there, but you get what I mean. I could tell I was gonna die there just based on the rhythm I was clicking. Now let's do something we haven't done in a long time, that being practicing Etcher's part. Are we gonna do a 70 to 100 run? Probably not. Or at least we're not gonna be specifically going for it. But if we get it, I will be happy. I have a love-hate relationship with Kieran's part where, I mean, it's fun and all, but it's such a luck fest. What speed are you there? Half speed. Let's see if we die. Okay, the placement was good enough. Okay, so my initial strategy would have been to not overthink that particular timing, but I guess that's not an option. I actually do have to overthink that timing. And when I say overthink, I do mean a lot. Okay, I don't have to be this bad at the game to not beat this level today. Like, I can have a little bit more skill and still be unable to beat this level. I feel like you're overdoing it now. That was me barely making the timing. Honestly, that timing is the only thing that stresses me out about... Well, not the only thing, that's a massive overstatement. But it stresses me out the most out of all the things in this level. Because that's gonna be very hard to hit under pressure. Even the triple spike at the end doesn't stress me out as much as the timing there. Fuck off, please, at least make it to the hard portion of Michigan's part. I don't have to be this bad at video games to not beat this level today. I'm talking about it as if it's even a possibility for me to beat this level in this particular stream. No, that's absolutely not gonna happen. At best I'll get to like 70 something if I like fluke. But actually beating the level, yeah, that's not gonna happen before a crack to 100 run. And I really don't wanna start milking for that crack to 100 run. I could tell that death was coming just based on the curvature of my ship. It all comes down to the angle in which you enter that portal there. After that, it's just if you can react to the whale. Fuck off. Why are you doing this? Your bitrate is too low. Yeah, let's please scroll the stream. Please scroll the screen all the way to the right so I can't actually see anything from my live stream preview. I just don't like the layout of YouTube, that's all. And you know, there also is the elephant in the room. Yes, this level does frustrate me somewhat. Fuck. One of the only times I ever make it to that ball part. Since for some reason I'm just now bad at that ball part, the fast ball part. I just woke up today and decided to be bad at it. This intro is getting so repetitive, it's not even funny anymore. I'm saying anymore as if it was at some point. Fuck! There's really nothing else to do but just keep on pushing until I start getting more consistent at it. Which I slowly but surely am doing. At least seemingly. Straighten my back. Fucking ball part. More annoying than a death at a hard part is annoying at an easy part, which that just there was. Because if I make it to the UFO and die there, fair enough. That UFO part is the most difficult part of Michigan's entire part, but freaking then I just go and die at, I don't know, grandpa's funeral. Which is, you know, the easiest part of life. And now my family has to have two funerals in one. Nobody wants to have two funerals in one. Please, the UFO fucking part. I haven't made it to the UFO part in so long. It's the most frustrating thing right now. Like, I haven't even been given a shot at that, the part that matters the most. The thing is, I hate Michigan's part so much that I don't even like practicing it. But I'll have to push past this love-hate. It's not even love-hate, it's just pure hatred. If I wish to get consistent at it at all. There we go. That UFO part actually is the most annoying thing in this freaking level. It's not the hardest thing, but it's the most annoying thing. Because it doesn't matter if you time it correctly, it's the first timing that matters the most. And there's just so many invisible factors that go into you actually getting past it that it feels like luck. I mean, in a way, the entirety of Michigan's part comes across as luck-based, even though a lot of it actually isn't. But it's just that because a lot of the gameplay is so precise that it's really hard for the human brain to constantly focus on every particular timing, which is why you usually just trust your intuition. And that's what tends to make it luck-based. Unless you can deeply ingrain the correct timings in your intuition. Which is something probably nobody has properly accomplished. I feel like a lot of the top players have probably gotten close, but no one is perfect at Michigan's part. Fuck off. At least I'm ever so slightly more consistent at the beginning than I was at the very beginning of the stream. Not yet perfect, but better for the very least. Sure. I was so sure that I was gonna die because it felt like I pressed too early at the second input. First time in a hot minute since I've made it to the UFO part. Let's start local recording to prepare for any good runs. That's heartbreak right there. Thinking you've practically made it past the ship part and then managing to die. Come on, dude. Give me breadcrumbs. This isn't how you addict people. You don't give people 10-hour losing streaks and expecting to come back. You gotta give them one win. And then give them the losing streak with minimal victories in them sprinkled in to keep them going. Also, I have a clock here. That's one of the biggest mistakes, giving me a clock that implies how long I've been going at this luck-based fuckery. Freaking bitrate. Shut up about the bitrate, you dumbass. 113 dropped frames. That's pretty good still, for my standards anyway. So many saves. I was supposed to die multiple times in that ship part. But as skillful as I am, I managed to save myself from my grisly fate. Says the man who dies at one of the easiest parts in the entire level. That's like the most pretentious voice I can come up with. I am annoyed by myself talking like that. Apparently I switched scenes. I didn't even know I had a hotkey for that. Hold on. There we go. That was quite the livestream blunder, if I do say so myself. Please put this clip in a million view compilation and give me all credit. Okay, too early. Gosh diddly, freaking darn it. Pardon my French. This level should be renamed to Blood Pressure. And I definitely am not the only person to make that joke ever. I know that for a fact, despite never hearing it. Except for the fact that every single Geometry Dash player is too awkward to actually try to make any jokes while playing, so... Most GD streams are like face camless. Fuck. And that's pretty much all the commentary you hear. Thank you for this opportunity. I would like to thank my mother for raising such a wonderful child. That's like the biggest humble brag. I'm not sure if that even qualifies as a humble brag anymore, because you certainly are not being humble. Well, I mean, you kinda are, because you're giving credit to somebody else, but you're still calling yourself great. Dude, come on. Please. There's just literally every part is a hazard here. There's no resting points in this level. Although some parts are significantly easier than others. Which honestly is even more annoying than the level just being balanced hard throughout. Because that makes dying in the easy parts all the more heartbreaking. Well, that's certainly a refreshing sight to see. Okay, now there's not too much I can do to get more consistent at Crack's part with such a short notice anyway, other than just throwing myself at the level until I make it there enough times, but let's still give it just a little bit of practice. To at least be a little more prepared for it. I looked to see if the test mode was showing, Because I don't want anyone joining this thinking that I'm going from 0. That would be very misleading. There we go. Fuck off, dude. Not even making it to the funny part of the TF2 scammer section. Feel like I'm losing hats by just playing this level. I don't even play TF2, so that joke kind of doesn't make any sense. Other than the fact that it's at the expense of somebody else. If you know, you know. That's all I can say. Okay, that's second time in a row. While 42 to 100 would be cool, let's not farm for that with the minimal skill we currently possess. I will actually try to give 70 to 100 a few tries this time around. But if we get to like attempt 100 without any results, then I won't be too persistent with it. At least give me a shot at Kiren's part, dude. Like, give me the faint hope that I have the skill to make it past it. If you haven't picked up on it yet, I am not very confident in my skill to beat this level just yet. But I also am very aware of the fact that if I don't play it, I'm not gonna magically gain the skill, so we're just gonna suffer for a little while until we finally possess the skill required. Okay, why am I so bad at that UFO part? I've done some very funky movements there for quite a few attempts in a row. A YouTube announcement for PewDiePie's live stream. Ah, gosh darn it, I think that's where all my viewers have gone. Explains why I'm not at 1 million views right now. Dude. At least, like, I understand dying at Edger's part, but come on. In the part between Kiran and Edger, seriously, dude? I've been saying the word dude too many times. I'm starting to feel like XQC. The only problem is that I'm just a little bit more charismatic than him. Maybe if I was like... I'd start getting views. Well, that's also an understatement. I actually have nothing against the guy. At the end of the day. I just personally do not watch his content, that's all. And I'm feeling a little cynical with all this red level that I'm having to witness for multiple minutes at a time. So I'm just kinda... expressing my frustration in many ways. Why is that UFO part the hardest thing in the universe? Is there a reason for it? It shouldn't be the hardest thing in the universe. Okay, I'm way too frustrated to start farming for 70 to 100 with these circumstances. And first try, practically. At least one of the first tries. As soon as I figured out that I had to not click for the first moment. I'd say that I'm mostly golden as long as I don't need to worry about that dual jump. Because dying to that on normal mode is probably one of the biggest heartbreaks one can experience with this level. Besides failing the ball timing. Well, I think that's technically worse than failing the ball timing, because that's... Because, well, if you're aware of the fact that you can die there, it's pretty easy to avoid it, but mistakes do happen. And it's like a 1 in 10 chance of dying there. Well, probably more than like 1 in 4 maybe. At least for the way I get through it. Don't know if there's any tricks for it actually. To ensure that you don't die there. Other than being good at the game, I guess. Okay, apparently that's possible. Well, the duel is a very janky game mode, anyway. If you can really call it a game mode, because you can have multiple game modes with the duel, but you get what I mean. It's a portal. It's a game mechanic, at least. That's what I can call it. Fuck. Givern's part definitely looks harder than it actually is, but it's still quite hard, nevertheless. But if you look at Givern's part in the editor, you would assume that it's far harder than it actually ends up being. Like, I could get past it with the 60Hz monitor if I put a start position at the beginning of Givern's part. That's what I get for overthinking the timing. That is the exact ball timing I hate the most. Even more than Michigan Spart's ball section. Because that's at 97% and it's such a hit below the belt if you actually manage to die there on normal mode. And there's really nothing you can do about it other than just try to ingrain it in your muscle memory. And maybe study the physics of the game to make sure that you can minimize the risk of... Or you can figure out the exact pixel that it's optimal to actually hit the button. For some reason in the editor you switch gravities if you go for the Michigan road. I actually want to go for it just a few times, but if it starts taking too long I will stop. Okay, that's actually a really hard timing. Way harder than one would assume. It's so weird that people have gone through the trouble of getting that on normal mode. It's just such a marginal accomplishment. I mean, it certainly gives you bragging rights in the same way as beating this entire level does as a whole, but it's still just... I don't know, it feels weird because you already have the stars for the level, so... I mean, I understand it ultimately, but that doesn't mean it doesn't feel weird. At least I'm getting experience with the balls. I'm having a stutter right now, that's very interesting. Okay, now I'm... It feels like I'm just sucking at this for the sake of sucking at this. Nah, I don't wanna waste time going for the Michigan road anymore. The next time I get to the end, I'm just taking the normal route. I heavily dislike that ball timing, as I have already expressed before. Okay, so generally I am confident in my ability to beat this level. I just don't think I have enough practice as of now. But I do believe that I have enough skill to get it at some point. I don't feel like I have to push myself beyond my absolute limits to beat this. Although I will have to push myself somewhat. Damn it. It hasn't even been 1 hour yet. I mean, close, but... Like, you'd think that I would I've been live for like 1 hour and 20 minutes already, but nope. Not even close. You know what they say, time flies when you're having fun. Moving on. Well, that did not help my itch whatsoever. Severe allergies. I actually aren't aware of being allergic to anything. It's probably just the fact that my brain is used to me having longer hair. And it thinks that there's like a hair tickling my nose when there actually isn't. I mean, I haven't had a buzz cut in almost forever. The last time was when I was really little. Like an actual daycare age child. So I certainly am not used to this, although I've had this for a few, well, more than a month already. But I'm really just waiting for it to grow out, so I can then go to the barber and get it done properly. Assuming I have the money to do so. The funny thing is that I actually knew when to jump, but my brain just randomly told me, no, wait just a little longer. And then I did it and died because of it. So don't trust your intuition, kids, it will only lead you astray. Well, it's actually not that binary in... Like, although I was making a joke there, it really isn't as simple as just trusting your intuition through everything, because sometimes even that is wrong. Because, I mean, I've seen the piece of advice on the internet that trust your intuition. If you have a bad feeling about something, trust it. And yeah, in most cases, yes, but there are also some instances where it's just paranoia for the sake of paranoia, where it's... The general rule is that don't brush off your bad feeling immediately, but rather actually analyze it if there's any reason behind it. Like, initially take it seriously enough to check if there's any ground on it. And if it's something where well, it's really hard to give some general advice with this stuff because it's so case by case sometimes. If it's something like a stranger saying, hey, I can give you a ride, and you have a bad feeling about that, Like, obviously, you should probably follow your intuition if something feels off, but then there are some cases where I don't know, you have to call somewhere for some, I don't know, professional reasons or anything. And you have a bad feeling about that. That's probably just your social anxiety or something like that. But that's just, that advice is so general that it, in a way, is ultimately worthless. I guess you can boil it down to nothing is black and white. Or at least most things aren't black and white. Black and white things are very rare in the real world. And I do mean metaphorically black and white things. Okay, the bitrate again. The dropped frames is still at 113, surprisingly enough. So no more frames have been dropped since the early portion of the stream. I'm surprised I didn't die earlier in that ballpark. I sort of was wishing that the sentence would have ended up being I'm surprised I didn't die at that ballpark, but I wasn't given that privilege, unfortunately enough. But I mean, I made it to Crack's part after such a long time since I last made it there. If I went for 2 more hours, I probably would catch up to my PB, but I don't really want to force myself, because I'm already getting ever so slightly tired. Dude, please. Freaking Michigan Spartan, it's just all around garbage. This level would be so much more fun without it. Which comes across as a mean thing to say, but it just... I genuinely don't like the part. It almost ruins the entire level for me. I just barely have enough motivation to actually go for it despite its existence. But just know that I am doing this despite its existence and not because of its existence. It really feels like there isn't a one-size-fits-all strategy for any portion of Michigan's, but instead as just throw shit at a wall until it sticks. I can just imagine what all the people who are playing the modern Extreme Demons feel like. Things like Zodiac, which isn't even... it's barely in the top 10 anymore. And that level is just... you're not given a break in that. You just constantly have to be aware of where to click. Like, the amount of practice to even get good enough to have a shot at beating the level is insane. But then to actually even just execute it. Like, I personally am now at the point where I know each and every click of this level where I could probably... Well, I couldn't beat it blindfolded, but... I can go to the level editor and pinpoint each portion, or pinpoint the general area where you're supposed to click in order to beat this level, let's put it like that. And it's pretty much just all about getting consistent enough at executing it until I'll finally beat it. I mean, even if I did 1 hour of this level each and every day for the theoretical end of time, or until the theoretical end of time, I'd still guess that this would take me many weeks to finally beat. Just based on how consistent I am right now. Which is still pretty fast, honestly. But it's not gonna be a breeze, let's put it like that. And on top of that, there really isn't a guarantee that I have it in me to play this level each and every day. Like, I'll definitely be wanting some break days. Especially if I want to upload any other type of content on my channel. Because I definitely don't want to be a Geometry Dash channel. Even if I were to dabble in it. I don't want that to be this channel's legacy, even if I, through some fluke, would be able to make a living with that, which, I mean, it's possible, but you have to be at the very tippy top of the community to have a shot at that. Well, not at the very top, but pretty close to the top anyway. Like, your name has to be with the VWs and Viprints and whatnot. But I mean, if I can sort of dabble in this game every now and again, kind of like Merc used to, I don't think he plays this game much, from what I understand. But when Merc at least did play this game, he wasn't known as a Geometry Dash channel, although those videos probably got him quite a few views. But still, his Geometry Dash content didn't define him by any means. But that's kind of one of the potential nightmares of having a varied channel, where it's very much so possible that only one type of content blows up, and then then you get stuck making that type of content, and then that type of content dies out, and now you don't have a channel anymore. Or you do, but you don't have any viewers anymore. And Merc pretty much, now that his Undertale content has blown up, he's got a good grip for the time being. But I don't want to make this about him specifically. There's also Eric Van Wilderman, where, I mean, he's widely known inside the Geometry Dash community, but he certainly isn't a GD exclusive guy. But he's kind of found a weird in-between, where he kind of is the Geometry Dash guy, but also kind of isn't. But I guess that's just because he's so good at the game by now, where I don't think he's still like a... I haven't looked at his channel in a while, I will admit that. But I don't think he's like a top player in the terms of if there was a new number 1 demon, he would be within the first people to get asked to verify it. But he certainly is like an good enough to beat a lot of the extreme, well, lot. Good enough to beat an extreme demon. And that's already quite an accomplishment in this game, because extreme demons certainly aren't easy. Even the easiest ones of those. I've only beaten ICDX, and I think that's no an insane demon. My friend asked me a question via messages. Let me answer his question and then go back to playing. There we go. But my initial point with all of this nonsense was that I don't want to be a Geometry Dash guy exclusively, although that's what my channel started with. I really do want to have, you know, something to fall back on, even if I fall or get completely tired of this. Dude, I have a like on this. That's insane. I haven't had one of those in such a long time on one of my streams anyway. Which I really should get back to uploading actual videos instead of just playing or streaming, because that's... Because while streaming is fun and all, especially if you have viewers, I don't really want my channel to be just for streaming. I actually recently unlisted all of my older streams and moved them to a playlist where if somebody for any reason wants to watch them in post, they can, but I just felt like they were making my video page uglier with how many of them there started being. If it was just one stream between multiple videos, then maybe. But on the other hand, that also was... It was kind of a warning that I definitely should go back to uploading regular videos as well. And not going so ham with my live streams. What attempt are we on? 1, 2, 3. That's quite a few in this one session anyway. Fuck. Such heartbreak. Provided by yours truly, Michigan Spart. Okay, once again, more complaints about the bitrate. Nice. God damn it. Why is Michigan's part so hard? What was that? I've never seen that type of death before. It's just so weird because now it just actually feels like there's no way to get past Michigan's part. It's kind of like whenever I get to it, now it just feels like I'm gonna die regardless. Which really isn't a good mindset to have at the end of the day, but still, that's just what kind of ends up happening. Let me try no particles. That feels very weird. Okay, let's turn particles back on. I was just looking if there was like some kind of a way to disable the jet fuel, that, you know, the fire particles that come out of my ship, but there seemingly is not. other than going to the game files themselves, which is quite kind of a hassle. At least to do on stream anyway. But yeah, I do want to have particles on because that makes it easier to detect cuts. Let's put it like that. I don't want it to come across as that I'm trying to hide cheating. That's also the reason I'm streaming this and not just recording it, because if I get this on stream, there will be less baseless doubts about me beating this legitimately, let's put it like that. And I mean, even if I had all the particles disabled, I was playing on low detail mode, and whatever, there'd still be quite a few ways to detect cheating. But it would be harder anyway. Five more attempts, then I'm quitting. That's to not completely fry my brain with this red color that is being plastered to my corneas. If that's even a correct term. Pupils, I guess, is the better word. What even is a cornea? Now that I think about it. Is that like some condition, or is it actually a part of the eye? Okay, I'm gonna make this the last attempt. Okay, and I really did make it count. That was sarcasm. Anyways, yeah, that... We did get some individual viewers every here and there, but nobody really stuck around, which... I mean, I won't blame them, but... Yeah, I have no way to actually finish that sentence, despite saying the word but, which implies continuation. With all of that being said, goodbye people. Viewing in post mainly.